We're on. Can't hear you. What's going on? There you go.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, you're looking skinny, man. What are you taking, Ozempic?
Nah, man. Just eating that liver, I guess.
Me too. I just slammed some liver. I'm sorry. I took 3 more minutes, but I just crushed some liver.
Yeah.
This dip that my nearby supermarket makes. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. What
So
is it? Like
it's
pate or something like that?
I don't even know what it's called. It's Old World chopped chicken liver. I go to Fairway Market. I don't know if they have that in Las Vegas. It's like chicken liver, onion, hard cooked eggs. It's just straight nasty.
Sounds pretty delicious.
It's just straight testosterone. Goes right to your testicles.
I love it. Love it.
What's going on, man? The world's going a little nuts right now, huh?
Dude, it's out of control. Absolutely out of too much going on. Tough to kind of follow everything if like that's not kind of your thing.
Hmm.
And you can get kind of caught in the wrong position, losing a lot of money. And at this point, it's kind of like don't sell if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just continue to buy on the dips if you have some cash to do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't, but hopefully people listening to this will. I mean, obviously it's well, you saw the thing. What was it? Warren Buffett dropped 52% of his Apple holdings, and now they're sitting on $277 billion of cash.
Yeah,
They're basically the Fed now.
they are, and they're waiting for something big, and this definitely isn't it. I think this is just kind of a blip on the radar. It's not really until we kind of reverse the Fed rates where we see a huge run up, everything kind of pumps one last time,
Yep.
and then not too long afterwards you see a massive crash. And historically that always happens, so there's no reason for this to be any different.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I was talking with a couple people about, I might even mentioned it to you in the DM or not, but William O'Neill in 24 Essential Lessons for Investment Success, every crash, like 90% or more happened in the fourth quarter. So we got to wait
Yeah.
we still got 2 months at least before it actually happens 90% of the time. And the other thing was the market right now, it usually has a little head fake or two and a big one. So that's
Exactly.
exactly what you're saying. This is the big head fake, and then it'll run back up and then kaput.
Yeah. Once you see those Fed rates start to drop, that's when you need to kind of start timing things. I think it's going to be after the election. I don't think there's going to be any sort of a crash until after. And I mean, I've been hearing a lot about November, December, anyways, and
Yep.
elections in the beginning of November.
November.
So I
Yep.
think that's kind of how things are going to play out. And then I don't know, it's going to be tough because the markets are kind of waiting for that crash. I think everybody's kind of prepared for it. And regardless if Trump wins, I don't think things are going to go very easily into a transition of power for him. I think there's going to be a lot of chaos. You're going to have a lot of clowns in the street, just funded by people who don't want him in power. So you're going to have a lot of that bad stuff going on.
Absolutely. Did you see that thing about what's his name? I mean, this stuff is just crazy. What's that guy's name? He was saying that Jamie Raskin,
The name's
Congress,
familiar.
stopped Trump on January 6th and create civil war.
Yes, yes, the politician. I was watching that today.
Are you kidding me?
So I mean,
Do you want a civil war? What is going on right now?
they do. Like the goal is to prevent him at all costs from coming into power because at the end of the day, he is the prophet, whatever people want to say, and he's the chosen one to kind of fight evil. And I think we've been seeing evil expose itself more and more. And you have a lot of people who were very anti-Trump
Hmm.
before starting to open their eyes and be like, "Oh my God, maybe this guy's right." And everybody opens their eyes, at least a majority of people open their eyes in their own ways. Some people very quickly, early on, other people it takes them a lot longer. But you start to see things that rub you the wrong way, whatever it may be, that finally triggers you, and you're just like, God damn, it's time. Like we need to fix this.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I mean, whether you like one candidate or not, like civil war, this is there's a line, and that is just somewhere like regardless of candidate, but to incite civil war is just I can't I just saw that today, and that's like, whoa. But to
Yeah, it's like you're really banking on your side to win at that point if you want a civil war. Because if your side loses and you were one of the leaders at the top, like you're done. like you will be executed. And I mean, rightfully so. That's kind of how things happen at that point. You cannot allow to have leadership in charge that incited a civil war, right? Either side winning. So I don't know where that confidence comes from, but it's not going to be pretty. And I think things are going to get pretty ugly pretty quickly.
They're gonna get really ugly. Just while we're on the and all the shakiness, yeah, I saw Taiwan was down. It started with Japan. It looked like India's down. But you and me, big Bitcoin fans, how low do you think Bitcoin will go? We're talking the next, say 6 months, right? I know it's a big prediction.
I'm hearing some people say it could dip down to 38,000, but it's not going to stay there that long. I honestly think this is kind of as low as we go. I mean, obviously, given something catastrophic happens in the Middle East, everyone's kind of expecting Iran to attack Israel for optics, because who the hell telegraphs? It's like you look at a boxing match and one boxer tells the other guy, I'm gonna come with a right hook.
Mm,
Like who does that, right?
mm,
And that's kind of what's going on with the whole Iran and Israel thing, is that they're telegraphing. So I think it's more for optics. I don't know exactly what's going on, but you never know. It could be something severe, and then that's going to cause things to dip a
mm.
little bit lower, kind of like what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine. You saw this
Right.
dip, and then kind of almost immediately things kind of started to rebound in terms of price. And it just
Right.
really depends on the severity of what comes. But I mean, it's tough to see what's going to happen. I think you're going to have more serious issues to like the UK, because all their
Mm,
riots like that are happening right now. That's absurd. And I think in countries where they've kind of allowed immigration from those parts of the world,
mm.
illegal immigration from those parts of the world, I think they're going to be the ones who are kind of going to be in more of a dire situation. Yeah, we'll have campus protests from clowns here who don't know what's going on, but for the most part, I think we'll be relatively untouched in terms of a physical aspect. It'll be more just media coverage and BS like that,
Mm.
financial markets and things like that.
Interesting, because I mean, I think what they were saying is that a lot of people from different parts of the world were, are here now. But
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, it could happen. Oh, and
I
I think Bitcoin will go lower. But yeah, on the riots, the rioting, do you think that? So you don't think it'll happen?
Well, it will, right? It's just I don't think it's going to happen right away. Like it's going on right now in parts of Europe, especially the UK. Like eventually those sleeper cells will be activated, and I think it's more so dependent on the US's response.
Hmm.
Right. Like I think if the US responds in a way that the Middle East doesn't like, then you're going to have sleeper cells activated where internal riots are going to start here from people that were implanted. Right. But I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case if the US doesn't have some sort of a reaction.
Right. Interesting.
Because you don't want, like, why would you kind of be the first one to attack and then have now the US is justified to go into that, right? And nobody like, if there was some sort of a terrorist attack in the US because of that, we didn't kind of, for optics spoke things, we're doing things, right? But if we didn't do some sort of a retaliation and the attack happened here first, it's kind of like 9/11.
Hmm.
Everyone in the United States was like, hell yeah, let's go to the Middle East, let's blow everything up over there, and we're down for it. And it'll be the same thing, more or less, if something like that were to happen here. So I think it's going to be kind of the other way. We have to kind of do something retaliatory, and then they'll go ahead and do something here.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It might happen, but if you look at all the speeches by the Prime Minister of the UK and what's going on there, it's completely one-sided. And I don't know if you look on the internet, all the videos are of only one side attacking the other, and they're the ones
Yeah.
offended. So it's now look, this is Twitter, but I don't know. A lot of videos are coming out that are just one-sided, and then that's the side getting defended over there. So I'd be curious to see something happen here. I don't know. There's just so many chips on the board. There's so many moving pieces at once. It's crazy.
It,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, kind of to switch topics. I know you were patients and stuff. And with the Venezuelan election, do you think that could legitimately happen with our election as well? Closing the door,
oh yeah.
voters from voting.
I mean, if Trump doesn't win, it was a stolen election. Like anyone with a brain can see that at this point in time. And I
Well,
think
well,
obviously,
wait. I just, if you Google just on Saturday, I was Googling this and it was saying that Kamala Harris in some states is ahead like 48, 46 in some. Now, I don't know if that's true or not because I can't find that at all on Twitter. And then I find it all over when you Google it on Google. So
yeah, because they're trying to prop her up. It's kind of like when you look back at the time of Hillary Clinton and Trump running against each other, and then every poll had had Hillary up by 96% or something like that, right? And I mean, that obviously wasn't the case, but I think those polls are good. I think it's good to have those numbers show Kamala's in the lead because that kind of causes you to take your foot off the gas if you are in, right? Like a lot of
absolutely
voters will kind of be more pressed to stay at home. Oh, we got this money in the bank, right?
true.
By
It's
but
going to work.
the other side is, and I think that really factored into Trump winning in 2016 was were those polls showing? And people were like, no, dude, I got to get out and I got to vote.
Interesting. Yeah. 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 I see what you mean there. That's totally true. That is totally true. Hmm. Did you you saw the Nancy Pelosi wants Biden on Mount Rushmore?
Dude, she's a raging alcoholic. She was probably drunk the entire time during that. I mean, she's not dumb. She's got to know how stupid she sounds, and she's just saying it because she kind of has to at this point. It's mind blowing to hear some of the stuff that people say.
There's some crazy stuff. Yeah, man. I saw a meme of Mount Rushmore and he had Biden's head
Yeah,
on turned around.
it's just like I don't know, man. I mean, they either have to believe it or they just know they're lying so hard, and it's just something they have to do. It's getting pretty pathetic, but I mean, it's election season. They got to say the things that they have to say.
And
Still don't believe Kamala is going to be the one who's running. I think they're going to do a swap at some point, but man, it's getting ugly. And I think this crash right here really kind of helped Trump at the end of the day as well.
wow, you think they're gonna do another flip flop, huh?
Yeah,
It's it could happen. You saw with the crash, Lockheed Martin. You saw that?
I did.
Big
Yeah.
bump. Big bump. That's like the only stock that didn't go down today.
Exactly. It's the past month it's been going up. So people are preparing for what's going on. And then I mean, I don't know how confirmed this is, but like you see on Twitter, Russian planes that are used primarily for transport of like military equipment keep landing in Iran
Go around. Yeah.
24/7. So, and I imagine there is some sort of truth to that. So I think people are preparing for some sort of an escalation. And at the end of the day, man, I'm really kind of curious. What does China do during all of this? Like, they are the only one who hasn't really pulled the trigger for what they want to do.
That is true. We haven't heard anything from them in years, years. We know that they're putting pressure right along the border of Taiwan, right?
Yeah,
But they didn't do anything, and they still haven't done anything. And we do know,
yeah,
based on that, you listen to the Dr. Phil Rogan podcast.
yeah,
Oh, he was saying all the Chinese military men were coming over the Mexico border on California side. Yeah, and they're going right to the right. They're going right to the land that they bought years ago around our
yeah.
military bases throughout the United States. So that could it be Taiwan? Could it be that? Could it be both? Didn't China, was it China or Russia that when we pulled out of Iran or Iraq, wherever we pulled out in the Middle East, that was what 3 years ago now. 3 years ago,
Yeah.
they all took those. Wasn't it like the largest airspace in the Middle East? And China just
It's,
moved. So China's there and Russia's there.
yeah, they moved in right away, and I think China's getting ready to do something because they've been aggressive. I think they are trying to do it in a way that doesn't involve the military and through elections. And if they're not able to kind of influence things, so Taiwan kind of rejoins through an election process like that, I think they're just going to take it by force. And I mean, you're having a lot of countries kind of prepare for that with the building of semiconductor factories and chip factories outside of Taiwan because they know what's coming potentially. You're having whatever the Taiwanese semiconductor company name is, I'm drawing a blank. They're setting up headquarters all over the world now in
Mm.
Europe, United States in anticipation. I mean, you look at what's going on in the Phoenix area, they're building one of the biggest campuses there for semiconductors because of that. So it kind of indicates that something is brewing. And I think if China is able to kind of take it by force or somehow take it and the US not retaliate, I don't think we're going to have these Chinese individuals in the United States start blowing up things and wreaking havoc, right? I think it's all if the United States retaliates. I don't think these sleeper cells will do anything for either country if the United States doesn't retaliate. It's all kind of retaliation at this point.
That could absolutely be true because I mean that's kind of like the face down card that they have is that the
Yeah,
internal conflicts that they have. And you're right, you're 100% right. China's been aggressive, but they've been quiet. That's a very interesting point. And I mean, when something does arise, we don't have any weapons. We'd run out in 6 hours. So we're pretty much naked with our pants down right now.
exactly. The one benefit is it'll be tough for someone to take over the country. Obviously, you can't land on the shores and take it over because Americans at a certain point are just going to say F this and they're going to start killing everybody that lands, and rightfully so. And
Well, not
same.
because we don't have any guns in New York.
Yeah, not New York,
You could
but
just
like red-blooded Americans start to protect their own. There's a reason why the Second Amendment exists. And then obviously if things start happening within the country, then eventually you'll get to a tipping point where Americans kind of take things into their own hands. They start creating militias, vigilante groups, things like that, and they start basically protect. It's tough to say what's gonna happen.
yeah,
Really
that
tough to say.
there's a lot at stake here. So I know you got to go. Let's cut it and then we'll revisit this. We should probably at minimum do a podcast a month just to talk out what's going on. I gotta be on. I got no one to talk to. My girlfriend's annoyed with me talking about this stuff. She's like, "This is what you're
Dude,
talking about." I'm like, I
same here.
can't talk
Same
about
here.
her work, and things are getting kind of scary, because there's everyone's experienced it, right? Because at the bottom, it's like I'm having trouble paying rent and getting eggs and groceries, and all the way at the top, it's like market crash, Iran, Israel, UK riots. It's an election year. Things are going crazy between the
Yeah.
sides, very polarized, and like we need to talk about these things. If you think about what they're talking about, Joe Rogan's special came out what Joe Rogan's talking about, Elon Musk, the big thinkers, the big speakers and thinkers of today's day and age, they're talking about
Yeah.
these things because these are problems. We have a big issue on our hands. Big minds, big problems, little minds think about little problems. We need to, and we should get other people on to see what their thoughts are. I got to be careful because I don't want to come off of like one sided politically. I don't want it to ruin it, like affect residency, as you know, because people, it's actually a thing, and you get targeted and stuff. And I'm not trying to make this political. I want to make sure everyone's safe. I got to be honest. I want to see that everyone's safe. And last year, I
Yeah.
was walking back to the hospital one time, and a guy threatened to stab me in the face because I had scrubs on. And that was my first kind of like, huh, there are homeless people in my alleyway now. When I moved in for a year, there was no one. And now there's one. And then this year, there's two every other week. It's slow. There's garbage everywhere. In fact, last week, there was a full paper roll of used toilet paper along the side of my alleyway. And I'm getting threatened to get stabbed in my face. Like this is like 10 months ago. So things are getting. I think I'll be able to keep myself safe. I want to make sure everyone's safe. Friends, family, you like who knows? So I don't know. It's getting very uncomfortable and spooky to say the least.
Yeah.
And
Strap up.
so and like no one's talking about it. The media is doing a great job of protecting. Like I asked you, like you saw like the market. What? Well, the lights are on. I think everything's yeah. Well, obviously, asshole, the lights are going to be on.
Yeah.
But like, how's your 401k right now? And I don't know. It's concerning because I don't know. This is all going on. It's like
People are blind sheep. They're just being led to the slaughterhouse and they don't even know it. But ignorance is bliss. You know that they say that for a reason. It's unfortunate, but you get the majority of the population to buy into whatever it is that you're spewing. It might be right, it might be wrong. You can steer things in off a cliff at that point. But I gotta run.
yeah, man. All right, dude. Good stuff. Good talk. We'll
Thanks for
talk
having
soon.
me on.
Thanks for coming on. All right, brother.